There is a quiet strength in a woman who is truly protected by God. It is not loud, it does not boast, and yet it is unshakable. When darkness comes knocking, she is not consumed, for she carries a light that no shadow can overcome. There is something profoundly beautiful about a woman whose heart carries peace that does not depend on her surroundings. The world around her may be full of noise, confusion, and conflict, yet she remains calm in a way that seems almost unexplainable. Her peace is not a fragile thing that shatters with the first sign of trouble. It is not the kind of calm that only exists when life is quiet and predictable. Rather, it is a peace that can exist even in the middle of a storm. It is a deep-rooted stillness that flows from her trust that she is not walking through life alone. This peace is not passive or lazy. It does not ignore reality or pretend that pain does not exist. Instead, it faces reality with courage and confidence, knowing that no amount of fear can add a single day to her life or solve a single problem. She understands that peace is not something the world can give her, so the world cannot take it away. The source of her calm is far above the reach of gossip, betrayal, or cruelty. A woman who carries this kind of peace has learned to let go of control. She no longer fights to manipulate every outcome or to make everyone around her approve of her choices. She has discovered that real peace comes when you trust that there is a bigger plan at work, one that is wiser than your own. This trust does not remove all suffering, but it removes the fear of suffering. It allows her to move forward even when the path is unclear, because she believes that she is being led by a hand that never fails. This peace changes the way she responds to people. When others lash out, she does not lash back. When they speak words meant to wound, she does not let those words take root in her heart. She does not carry the burden of needing revenge or proving herself right. Instead, she chooses to stay still on the inside, to let her calmness speak louder than anger ever could. In doing so, she disarms those who try to harm her spirit. Evil people often feed on chaos, but they cannot control a person who refuses to be pulled into their storm. Her peace is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet and steady, like a gentle river. But make no mistake, it is also powerful. It gives her the ability to stand firm when others would fall. It gives her the courage to speak truth when it would be easier to stay silent. It allows her to forgive when forgiveness feels impossible, because she knows that forgiveness protects her own heart more than it excuses another's actions. This kind of peace is also magnetic. People are drawn to her because she does not carry the constant tension and worry that so many live with. She becomes a safe place for others, a reminder that there is a way to live without being swallowed by anxiety. Her calmness becomes a kind of shelter for those around her, encouraging them to believe that peace is possible for them too. Perhaps the most powerful thing about this peace is that it cannot be manufactured by human effort. It is not something that comes from reading a single book, going on a single retreat, or repeating a few positive words in the mirror. It is something that grows over time, through trials, through heartbreak, and through moments where she had every reason to give up but chose not to. It is shaped in the fire of suffering and becomes stronger because of it. When a woman possesses this deep sense of peace, she becomes a living testimony that protection does not always look like the absence of trouble. Sometimes protection looks like having the strength to walk through trouble without losing yourself. She is proof that no matter how dark the night gets, there is a light within that no darkness can put out. And that is why evil people cannot break her. They may try to disturb her, but they cannot destroy her. Her peace is her shield, and it will guard her as long as she keeps trusting the one who gave it to her. A woman who is protected by God carries within her a remarkable gift, the ability to discern the hearts of people. This is not an ability to read minds or to see the future, but it is a deep and quiet knowing that allows her to see beyond appearances. She has learned that not everyone who smiles wishes her well, and not everyone who praises her is a friend. Over time, she has been given the wisdom to feel the difference between genuine care and false flattery. This discernment is not born from suspicion or cynicism, but from a heart that has been tuned to truth. There is a kind of spiritual radar within her that alerts her when someone's intentions are not pure. She may not always be able to explain why she feels uneasy, but she has learned to trust that feeling. Sometimes it is in the tone of a person's voice, sometimes in the way their words do not match their actions, sometimes in the heaviness she feels after spending time with them. This inner sense becomes a compass that guides her away from those who would seek to harm her, even if on the surface they seem charming, kind, or powerful. This gift of discernment often comes from experience. She has been through seasons where she trusted too quickly and was hurt because of it. She has learned the cost of ignoring her intuition, and those lessons have taught her to listen carefully to the quiet warnings in her spirit. Instead of letting bitterness close her heart, she has chosen to grow wiser and more alert. Her ability to see through deception does not make her hard or cold. Rather, it makes her stronger and more compassionate because she understands that not everyone who acts out of evil does so knowingly. Some are simply lost or broken themselves. A woman with discernment does not allow herself to be controlled by manipulation. People who thrive on deceit, guilt, or control quickly realize that their tactics do not work on her. She does not respond to emotional traps, nor does she let flattery blind her to someone's true character. This does not mean she isolates herself or assumes the worst about everyone she meets. On the contrary, she is warm and kind, but her kindness is guarded by wisdom. She gives her trust slowly, allowing people to reveal who they truly are over time. This ability to discern also keeps her from being entangled in unnecessary drama. She recognizes when a situation is not hers to fix, when an argument is not worth engaging, and when silence is more powerful than speaking. This wisdom saves her from wasting energy on battles that are not hers to fight. She stays focused on what truly matters, refusing to be pulled into conflicts designed only to drain her spirit. Discernment also allows her to see the good in people others might overlook. She notices quiet acts of kindness that go uncelebrated. She recognizes potential in someone who may be rough around the edges, but whose heart is sincere. This makes her a safe and trusted presence for those who are misunderstood by others. Her ability to see beyond the surface not only protects her from harm, but allows her to be a source of encouragement and hope for those who need it. Perhaps one of the most powerful things about this gift is that it protects her future. By discerning the hearts of people around her, she avoids aligning her life with those who would derail her purpose. She is not easily swayed by appearances, wealth, or charm, because she knows that character is revealed in time. She would rather walk alone for a season than be surrounded by people whose hearts are not aligned with what is good and true. When a woman carries this level of discernment, evil people often find themselves exposed in her presence. They cannot hide behind masks for long, because her quiet strength and clarity bring hidden things to light. She may not even confront them directly, but her refusal to engage in their games makes them uncomfortable. This is part of her protection. She simply will not stay where her spirit is not at peace. In a world where deception is common, her gift of discernment becomes a shield. It allows her to build a life surrounded by truth, by sincerity, and by relationships that nourish her soul instead of draining it. And this is how she stays safe. Not because trouble never comes near, but because she is guided away from the traps set for her. She has learned that every heart carries its own fruit, and she pays attention to the fruit, not just the words. This is why she walks through life with a confidence that others can feel. She is not easily fooled, not easily swayed, and not easily broken. There is something profoundly powerful about a woman who is not afraid of her own company. She has learned that solitude is not a punishment, but a gift, and she treats it as a sacred place where she can rest, reflect, and rebuild. In a world that constantly demands her attention, her energy, and her presence, she has discovered that the quiet moments alone are not empty, but full of meaning. They are where she comes back to herself, where she listens to the whisper of truth within her, and where she is reminded of who she really is apart from the noise of everyone else's expectations. For many, silence can feel heavy, even frightening, because it forces them to face themselves. But a woman who is protected by God has learned to welcome that silence. In it, she meets her own soul and faces her deepest thoughts without fear. She uses solitude not to escape from life, but to gather the strength she needs to live it more fully. In those moments when no one is watching, she lays down her burdens, lets go of the things she cannot control, and finds peace in knowing that she is being held by something far greater than herself. Her solitude becomes the place where she heals. She has known heartbreak, betrayal, and disappointment. But instead of rushing to fill the empty space with noise or distraction, she allows herself to sit with the pain until it loses its power to control her. She cries if she needs to. She prays if she must. She writes, she reflects, and she slowly allows her soul to mend. This makes her resilient, because when the world tries to shake her again, she knows she has been through storms before and come out stronger. Spending time alone also sharpens her clarity. It helps her see what truly matters and what she can release. When she steps back from the opinions of others, she gains perspective about the relationships she should keep and the ones she should walk away from. She stops living to please the crowd and starts living in alignment with her deepest values. This is why her decisions carry weight and why her path seems so steady, because she is not being pulled in 100 different directions by the noise of the world. Solitude also strengthens her confidence. The more time she spends learning to enjoy her own company, the less she depends on others for her worth. She no longer fears being alone because she knows she is never truly abandoned. This makes her difficult to manipulate, because she will not stay in a toxic situation simply out of fear of loneliness. She is willing to wait for what is right, rather than settle for what is harmful. Her quiet strength confuses those who think power only comes from having control, influence, or crowds of admirers. She does not need to be constantly seen or praised to feel valuable. She carries her dignity within her, and it grows in the stillness, where no one else can touch it. People who encounter her can feel that strength. It radiates from her presence even when she says nothing. This inner strength gained from solitude is also what allows her to pour into others without losing herself. She is not giving from a place of emptiness, but from a well that is always being refilled in the quiet moments she spends away from the world. This is why she can be both gentle and unshakable, both compassionate and firm with her boundaries. When a woman finds strength in solitude, she is nearly impossible to control with fear. Threats of isolation do not scare her, because she knows that solitude is not her enemy but her sanctuary. She walks through life with a confidence that does not depend on applause. And in a world where so many are desperate to be seen, liked, and accepted at any cost, she becomes a rare and steady light. In this way, her solitude becomes one of her greatest protections. It keeps her spirit whole, her mind clear, and her heart safe from those who would seek to use her need for connection as a weapon. She is connected first to her own soul and to the one who made it, and this connection gives her strength no one can take away. A woman who is truly protected by God often experiences moments of protection that seem almost too perfectly timed to be a coincidence. It is as though unseen hands are constantly guiding her steps, redirecting her path away from danger and toward safety. Many times she may not even realize she was being guarded until she looks back later and sees how everything fit together What felt like a disappointment, a delay, or even a painful ending often turns out to be the very thing that kept her from harm. This quiet, hidden shield is one of the clearest signs that she is not walking through life alone. Sometimes this protection comes in the form of a closed door. She may pray for an opportunity, desire a certain relationship, or chase a dream, only to find that it suddenly slips out of reach. In the moment, it feels unfair. She might cry, question, or wonder why things did not work out the way she hoped. But with time, she begins to see that what felt like rejection was actually redirection. That the door that shut was never meant for her good, and keeping it closed spared her from heartache she could not yet see. Other times, this protection comes through the people around her. A friend's timely advice, a family member's warning, or even a stranger's kind word can arrive just when she needs it most. Sometimes it is someone stepping into her life briefly, helping her avoid a destructive choice, and then disappearing again, as if they were sent for that single purpose. These moments may seem small, but they are not accidental. They are evidence that she is being watched over. Her protection can also appear in the form of intuition, that sudden, inexplicable urge to turn down a different road, to leave an event early, or to avoid a certain place. She may not always understand why she feels it, but she has learned to trust that pull. Many times, this simple obedience keeps her from being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It is not fear that moves her, but a deep inner knowing that something is guiding her toward what is safe. Even when she does encounter harm or pain, protection still surrounds her, because what was meant to destroy her ends up shaping her into someone stronger. She does not stay broken. The very events that could have crushed her spirit become the stepping stones that lift her to a new place of resilience. This is a form of protection too, not from the experience itself, but from letting the experience destroy her. She walks away with scars that tell stories, with wisdom that lights the path for others, and with strength that reminds her she is never truly defenseless. This kind of protection does not always look dramatic. It is often subtle, woven quietly into the fabric of her everyday life. It is there when she misses the bus that would have taken her to a dangerous situation. It is there when she loses a job that was draining her soul and later finds one that allows her to thrive. It is there when certain people slowly fade from her circle, leaving room for healthier relationships to enter. At the time, she may only feel frustration or confusion, but eventually she learns to see these moments for what they really are: invisible shields keeping her safe. In fact, knowing she is surrounded by this unexpected protection allows her to live with courage instead of fear. She does not need to obsess over every choice or live in constant anxiety about what might go wrong, because she believes that even if she stumbles, she will be caught. This faith gives her freedom to take steps forward, to dream boldly, and to trust that she will not be abandoned in her journey. When a woman recognizes this pattern of protection in her life, she begins to walk with a quiet confidence, and she no longer doubts that she is guided, loved, and watched over. Even in the moments when everything feels uncertain, she remembers how many times she has been rescued before, and it gives her the strength to keep going. And this is what makes evil powerless over her. Because no matter how many traps are set in her path, there is always something greater at work, clearing the way, closing the wrong doors, and surrounding her with a shield that cannot be seen, but can always be felt. There is a unique power in a woman who has taken her pain and turned it into wisdom. She is not someone who has lived an easy life, untouched by hardship. On the contrary, she has walked through valleys where the shadows felt heavy and endless. She has faced betrayal that shattered her heart, disappointments that drained her hope, and losses that made her question if she could go on. Yet somehow, instead of letting those experiences harden her, fill her with bitterness, she allowed them to teach her. She let her suffering shape her into someone wiser, someone deeper, someone stronger than she ever imagined she could be. Pain has a way of revealing what truly matters, and she has learned this firsthand. It stripped away her illusions, tore down the false images she once believed about herself and others, and forced her to face reality with open eyes. In the process, she discovered truths she might never have known otherwise. Truths about who she could trust, truths about her own strength, and truths about the unshakable presence that carried her when she thought she could not walk on her own. This wisdom becomes a light she carries inside her, and it shines even in the darkest places. Because of what she has been through, she no longer believes every word that is spoken to her. She does not give her trust cheaply, because she knows the cost of betrayal. Yet she also does not close her heart completely, because she knows that love and goodness still exist. Her wisdom allows her to hold a healthy balance. She is careful but not suspicious, cautious but not fearful, open but not naive. She listens carefully to both what people say and what they do, measuring the truth of their character before giving them access to her heart. Her pain has also made her compassionate. Having been wounded herself, she recognizes the quiet suffering of others and becomes a safe place for them to open up. She does not judge their tears or their struggles, because she knows what it feels like to break. Her wisdom gives her the ability to offer guidance, not from a place of superiority, but from a place of deep understanding. She becomes a healer simply by being willing to sit with someone else in their pain without turning away. Every hardship she has endured has left her with lessons that shape the choices she makes now. She no longer wastes time on things that drain her spirit. She knows how to set boundaries, not out of pride, but out of respect for the peace she fought so hard to reclaim. She knows when to walk away from toxic situations, when to let go of grudges, and when to stand firm, even if standing firm costs her something. Her wisdom is not just intellectual, it is practical, guiding her in the everyday moments of life where decisions determine the direction of her future. Perhaps most importantly, her pain has taught her resilience. She now knows that she can survive what she once thought would destroy her. This knowledge gives her courage. When new challenges arise, she remembers the strength that carried her through before and trusts that she will find a way through again. What was once her greatest weakness becomes her secret weapon. She is not afraid to fall because she has already learned how to rise. This transformation is part of her protection. Evil people may try to use her past against her, but they will find that the very things meant to hurt her have only made her stronger. The tricks, the lies, the manipulation that might have worked before will no longer have power over her. She sees them for what they are, and she refuses to be dragged back into a place she has already outgrown. When a woman allows her pain to become her wisdom, she becomes unshakable. She is not defined by what happened to her, but by what she learned from it. Her story becomes a testimony. Her scars become reminders of her victory, and her life becomes a quiet declaration that nothing meant to destroy her was able to win. And that is why she walks forward with her head held high, because she knows she has already faced the worst and come out stronger. And no evil person can take away the strength she has earned. One of the most extraordinary qualities of a woman who is protected by God is her refusal to let bitterness take root in her heart. She has been wronged, perhaps many times. She has been lied to, betrayed, abandoned, and spoken against. She has endured moments where she could have allowed anger to consume her, where she could have let her soul grow cold and her heart turn hard. But instead, she made the courageous choice to remain soft, to forgive, and to let go. This does not mean she ignores injustice or pretends that what happened was acceptable. It means she refuses to allow the wrongdoing of others to poison her spirit and shape her future. Bitterness is a slow and quiet enemy, one that can creep into the heart disguised as self-protection. It promises safety by saying, never trust again, never love again, never open yourself again. But a woman who is truly guarded knows that such promises are traps. She understands that bitterness does not keep her safe. It keeps her stuck. It locks her in the past and chains her to the very pain she longs to be free from. By refusing to let bitterness grow, she keeps her spirit open to healing, to joy, and to new beginnings. This choice is not always easy. Forgiveness can feel like the hardest thing in the world when the wound is still fresh and bleeding. There are nights when she cries alone, wondering why she has to be the one to let go when no apology ever came. Yet she chooses forgiveness anyway, not because the other person deserves it, but because her own heart does. She understands that carrying anger is like carrying poison and expecting someone else to die from it. Letting go is not for them, it is for her own freedom. Her refusal to become bitter allows her to keep seeing the beauty in life. She can still find joy in small moments, in laughter with a friend, in the warmth of the sun, in the hope of a new day. If she allowed bitterness to rule her, these moments would lose their meaning, drowned out by resentment and pain. But because she has chosen to stay free of it, she lives with a sense of lightness, as though she has laid down a heavy burden. People who meet her are often surprised by her warmth, because it seems impossible that someone who has been through so much could still radiate kindness. Yet that is what makes her remarkable. This ability to stay free from bitterness is a shield in itself. Evil people expect their harm to work. They expect their cruelty to break her spirit, to turn her angry and vengeful. But when she refuses to play their game, when she rises above their schemes, they lose their power. Her peace becomes untouchable, her joy unstealable, and her future unstoppable. She does not waste her life plotting revenge or rehearsing old hurts. Instead, she uses her energy to build, to grow, and to walk towards. Staying free from bitterness also allows her to love again. She can welcome new friendships, new opportunities, and even new love without dragging old pain into them. She does not project her past onto every new person she meets because she has truly released it. This makes her presence refreshing. She becomes someone who believes in second chances, someone who inspires others to let go of their own pain too. And perhaps most importantly, her refusal to become bitter is a declaration that evil does not get the last word in her life. No matter what was done to her, she will not allow it to define her. She will not become a mirror of the darkness she has faced. She will not let anger turn her into someone she is not. Instead, she keeps her heart open, her spirit pure, and her focus on what is good. In this way, she becomes unshakable. She is not controlled by what happened yesterday, and she is not afraid of what may come tomorrow. Her heart stays soft but strong, and her life becomes proof that healing is possible. The very things that were meant to turn her bitter have turned her better, and that is why no evil person can keep her from living fully, freely, and with dignity. She remains a light, and light is something no darkness can overcome.